neighbour Tori here. How are you? I hope you're all doing well. So we are just continuing. I said it wasn't going to be a vlog series because I only went for one day, but we're now on the third video, so is it a vlog series? As you've been able to tell from my recent videos, I had a day trip over to Efteling. I'll leave my little playlist up here. It consists of a vlog, a haul, and now this video and any others that magically appear. I had a day trip over to Efteling and I have been posting about it on my Instagram with like various photos and reels and stuff like that, and I asked you guys over on there if you'd be interested in a bit of a review video. It's a very well-known European theme park, but a lot of you guys are from over the pond and hadn't heard of it before. And for people and for my friends on this side of the pond that have heard of it but haven't been, you guys were kind of interested in just like hearing about it and what I had to say about it. So we're going to do this video. It's going to be a bit of a review, bit of like an overview. Usually I'd like make notes, I'd ask you leave a question box on my Instagram and answer the questions and do that sort of thing. But I am not feeling organised today and we're just gonna go off with whatever's in here. So this video is probably going to be chaotic, but what's new on Touring Wonderland? Anyway, without further ado, let's get on with the video. So Efteling is a theme park located in the Netherlands. If you're coming over from the UK, it's about I think it was just over the hour drive from the Hook of Holland port, so really not too far into Holland. It's really easy to access. And if you are coming over from the UK and you're doing the Harwich to Hook of Holland sailing, it is so easy because that port does two sailings. There's the day sailing and then there's the night sailing. It's about an 8-hour crossing, so I always recommend doing the overnight one because what are you going to do for 8 hours on a boat? There's a cinema, there's a restaurant. I've done the day crossing once and I've done the overnight crossing about 4 or 5 times. Always recommend the overnight one because you can just sleep and then you wake up refreshed and ready for your adventure. That's how I find the easiest way to get there, because literally it's only like an hour away from Hook of Holland, so it saves you needing to get overnight accommodation for travel day because you're going to sleep on the boat. It works out so much easier. Although you could also do Dover to Calais or Dover to Dunkirk and then just drive up. Not too sure how far the drive is. Obviously it's going to be a few more hours, but I don't think it's that far really in general terms of speaking. But easiest is the Hook of Holland route. Right, so that's getting there from the UK. It's really easy and it's actually closer to me than Disneyland Paris, so that's why I'm so surprised it's taken me so long to get there. And with Disneyland Paris, obviously I have a travel lodge in Dover the night before traveling, and obviously with this I didn't need a travel lodge. The travel and sleeping was all in one, so it's closer and I saved money on not needing a hotel. So right, so on to actually Efteling itself. It was created in 1952, I believe. It's 40 years older than Disneyland Paris, which was created in 1992. It's not one of Europe's oldest theme parks. I think the eldest theme park in Europe is in Denmark. And it's several, I think that was made in like the 13th century or something like that. It's not one of the oldest theme parks in Europe, but it is pretty old. And it is also one of the top ranking theme parks in Europe. I'm not sure where it does actually rank. Let me have a quick Google. Okay, so if you Google top theme parks in Europe, it comes up as the second highest ranking, which I knew it was somewhere in the top 3, but that's crazy. And just while we're on the topic, the top 3 theme parks in Europe, number 1 is Europa Park. I do kind of agree with that. Europa Park is an amazing park, it's in Germany. Number 2 is Efteling, and number 3 is Disneyland Paris. And so not only on like Google does it rank higher than Disneyland, a lot of people, its nickname is the Dutch Disneyland. A lot of people do compare it to Disneyland Paris and Disney parks in general. And there was a theory going around that Walt Disney himself went to Efteling to get inspiration for Disneyland in California, the original Disneyland, because Disneyland Resort opened in 1955, which is obviously 3 years after Efteling. So people did, I don't even know where this conspiracy came from, like whether he was spotted at Efteling or where it came from or whatever, but there were so many people believing that Walt Disney went to Efteling to get ideas for Disneyland. That rumour has been debunked, that is not true, but I'm now very interested if he did actually go or not. works out, where did the rumours come from? Did Walt Disney visit Efteling? Who knows? We're getting side tangent, but I just thought I'd bring up that fact just to compare it to, because obviously a lot of you guys watching this are Disney fans, so it is very interesting that it ranks higher than Disneyland Paris for European theme parks, and that the fact that people are thinking that Walt Disney took inspiration from it. So Efteling is a theme park based entirely on fairy tales, and a lot of the fairy tales are ones I'm familiar with, like Little Red Riding Hood, Rapunzel, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, and then there was a few more like Dutch fairy tales that I wasn't familiar with but was really interesting to learn about. There was this one, so you go around the Storybook Forest and go around them all, and there's this one where you go inside like this temple place, and there's this little band of, I thought they were frogs to begin with, but I think they're some goblins or some sort, and they're playing a song and it opens up the lilies, and then there's like little fairies dancing in the lilies. That one was one of my favourites, and I absolutely had no idea what it was about. And there was loads of different fairy tales that like I'd never heard of before, but it was just so magical, and you can obviously soon pick up the gist of what a fairy tale is about. And so you get this little like walkthrough area where you get to explore all of the fairy tales, but the entire park in general is just, it's very, I don't know how to describe it. Like if you're to step into a Disney park, everything kind of feels like very modern magical, whereas with Efteling it feels like you're stepping back into like an old school fairy tale. I really don't know how to describe it, and I hope that you can understand what I mean in the vlogs, like how all the buildings are and everything like that. It all feels really traditional fairy tale style, and all of their rides are based on some sort of like fairy tale, and they've obviously got their park mascot. He's like a jester. They've got their castle where the king lives. Their main mascot is the jester for him. He does kind of have his own ride, which is very similar to, I would compare it to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Roller Coaster, but for my Disneyland Paris friends it's kind of like Ratatouille. So it's a trackless ride, but it's very much in the sense of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad, where, you know, you're going on this tour around the castle, and, you know, things start to go wrong because the mascot doesn't want to follow the rules, and it's just a whole lot of fun, and you're just flying around in this little trackless thing going around the castle. That was the first ride in the vlog, and that's the first ride I went on, and I think that's the only ride that's like based on one of their characters. My favourite ride was the Dream Flight ride, and that honestly, it's literally, you go around it and you're flying through all these fairy tales in a fairy forest, and I don't know how to describe it at the end of the ride. It's a dark ride, so think like Peter Pan's flight, you know how you're flying above everything, looking down on everything, and as you're going around the ride you're kind of like on an uphill, you're slowly working your way up, and then when you get to the last scene it's loads of trees in the middle and you're looking down at everything, and from where you know you've been working yourself up, you literally like spiral down in like a corkscrew downwards. And I don't know if it was like a free fall sort of thing or whatever, but it's literally, you start picking up pace as you go down. And if you know me, I'm not much of a coaster sort of person. When I was doing research on all of the rides before I went, because I was watching loads of YouTube videos, people were saying that the end of that ride could be described as a coaster because of the speed it picks up, which then kind of got me a bit worried about it. But it was so fun. You're not expecting it, but it's so fun. Obviously I'm not going to sit here and go through all of the rides and all of their themings. Obviously you did see them in my vlog. So all of like, it's very much a family friendly theme park. There was so many rides for me to go on. I'm not a big thrill ride lover, but I was spoiled for choice on rides, all fairy tale themed. And my friend Charlotte, she's an annual pass holder for Efteling, so she was like my tour guide for it, giving me all the information I needed to know. All of the rides did have like a backstory to them, which she was then telling me in the queue to understand like the fairy tales and stuff like that. Even so, their version of the teacups was in these sailboats. That had a story behind it as well. I just found it so cool that everything had its own story and fairy tale that it linked to. So most of the rides are family friendly, which, you know, Tori friendly, but there is a whole, what was described as what Charlotte describes as the newer section of the theme park, obviously not opening day attractions. There's a roller coaster section, and I believe there was 2 or 3, I think 2, no 3, yeah, I'm gonna go with 3 big roller coasters for your thrill fans. There was one which I did feature in the vlog because it was one of those rides I'm never gonna go on that. Can't remember what it's called, but for my UK theme park fans, I get confused whether it's at Alton Towers or Thorpe Park. I'm pretty sure it's called Oblivion, where the ride comes to literally a straight drop and it like holds you on the edge for a bit, and then it's literally a straight drop down into a hole in the ground, and like there's smoke so you can't see how far you're going. Yeah, they had that ride, which it did look very similar to like an Oblivion sort of style. I think I've got that right. I'm pretty sure it's Oblivion. That ride was closed that day, so I didn't get to see anyone go down the hole. Then there was another ride, which I think I did capture in the vlog. It was like a Viking sort of ride, I think, where you're like on a Viking boat, and it's like, I think Charlotte said it starts off as a dark ride inside, and then it works round into the roller coaster portion of it, and then the bit in the vlog that I included, when the ride comes outside, the ride comes round over the water and you drop down into the water, and then the last bit of the ride is a water ride. The actual roller coaster itself turns into a little boat. It was quite cool to watch. Again, I wouldn't have gone on it, but it was quite cool how it went from the tracks to the water. It was quite cool. And then the third one, I thought I filmed it, but apparently I didn't. There was a, I think it was named something snake or something. For some reason I've got the idea of a snake in my head, I don't know why. It just looked like your traditional sort of roller coaster where you go up, you go round a little bit, and then it sends you flying down into a loop-de-loop and immediately into another loop-de-loop. No thank you. So I did think that was good that the entire theme park is like family orientated rides, but they have got that newer section with the roller coasters for your thrill fans, and which does make it even more of like an all-rounder family park, because then you've got something for everybody. So quickly moving on to shows, I'm not sure if there's more shows in the summer. Obviously I went in the beginning of December, so it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't have all the shows that you would normally have in the summer. The 2 shows I saw were, don't ask me to pronounce things, the I'll leave it here. The like medieval horses knights show, really good. Apparently in the summertime, when it's obviously high peak season, there is translators available for the show, so you'll have your headset on and you know you'll get the English version or German or French or whichever language you choose. You'll get that played, but honestly, even I think you watching the vlog, if you don't speak Dutch, you can kind of get the gist of what's going on. There's a queen and her knights, and then the bad guy comes along. The bad guy was called Olaf, which I find really funny, but obviously that show was created long before Frozen was a thing. So, but yeah, the fact that their bad guy was called Olaf was so funny to me. Olaf comes with his bad guys and they kidnap the queen, put her in a cage, and then smoke comes on the cage and the queen vanishes. I still can't work out how that happened. My dad said when the smoke covers her, it covers the base of the cage as well, so he thinks she goes through a trapdoor. When I've rewatched the vlog, you can check it out as well. On my side, because my dad was sitting in a different part of the arena, you can still see under it. The smoke doesn't cover it completely. Where did she go? And like the knights and Olaf's bad guys fight and all of that, and then, you know, happy ending, the queen comes back and banishes Olaf and the bad guys. And how she banishes them, again, it's one of those things, mind blown. She sends them into the river and then, you know, does some spells and they get lowered underwater and then disappear underwater. Where do they go? You can literally see it in the vlog. They just go down and go underwater. Although I do kind of have an idea on how that trick is done, because I have seen that trick been done before in shows. I've seen it that way where they go underwater and then disappear, and I've also seen it in reverse where someone appears up out of water, out of nowhere. I kind of have a feeling how that's done, but I won't ruin the movie magic for you. Yeah, even though that show is in Dutch, you don't really need the language to understand what's going on. I completely understood the show and I don't speak any Dutch. I did mention it in the vlog, but I was just going to mention it again here. The makers of that show are the people that made the theme park Pot de Feu in France. So Pot de Feu, it's a really famous French theme park, but everyone, you have to say theme park because if you think of theme park, you think of rides. Pot de Feu doesn't actually have any rides. It's an entirely like historical park with like shows and all things like that. And so Charlotte told me it was made by Pot de Feu before the show. After watching the show, it completely made sense to me. Like the style of how the show was done is completely, I've been to Pot de Feu a couple of times. Yet the style of the show was completely how their shows are at their park. And the trick where the people go underwater, that's a trick they use in quite a few of their shows. That's how I kind of think I know how it's done. Yeah, the general set out of the show very much did remind me of Pot de Feu. So I think if she hadn't have told me it was made by them, I'd have kind of like had a think and go, was that? What was that? If you are a theme park enthusiast from Europe, I did find that quite cool, the crossover between the two parks, because Pot de Feu is also a really old European park, so it is quite cool that they had crossovers with those shows. The other show is their nighttime show, and it's like a water light projection thing. So they have a big lake at the entrance, and it's, how would I describe it? Kind of similar to like the Epcot shows on the lake, where, you know, it's a mixture of projections on the water and, you know, fountains and music. There was no fireworks or anything like that. There was fire on the water, but there was no like actual fireworks. It was really cool, and there was like a story to it that they do explain beforehand. They say it in Dutch and in English, and I can't entirely remember it. It was something to do with a princess and frogs. I did enjoy the show. It was something different, but I think I do prefer a good old castle projection and fireworks. It's probably just because I'm used to that kind of nighttime show, but it was good. It was really good and different, but it was rainy and windy and cold, so I don't know if I got full effect of enjoying the show. Just stood there shivering. Food. So I did my usual like Disney theme park setup for food. I had one meal in the park for lunch, and then I'd brought with me a Tesco meal deal to have for tea. I ate while waiting for the... My brain's not working today. The show I just mentioned, the water show. And then I did also get snacks during the day. So there is quite a few restaurants dotted about the park. The restaurant we went into was like a quick service sort of style served. So everyone got pizzas except for me. They had like a big pizza counter, and then they had like a sandwich counter. The pizzas were huge, and like the crusts were like that thick, and I wasn't feeling that hungry for one of them. So I got a sandwich, and then they did make it up fresh to order. I got a goat's cheese sandwich, and everyone was so filled up on their pizzas. I was filled up on my sandwich. You could also get like pastries and cakes and snacks. And you know those potato chip things on like a spiral on a stick that every theme park sells? They had them as well. I meant to get one when I saw someone had one, but I didn't for some reason. Who knows? Get one next time. And then the other snack I got was in the fairy tale forest, and I just felt like I had to get it because I was in the Netherlands, and it was a stroopwafel. Probably pronouncing it wrong. It was so nice. I brought some in the gift shop as well. They're so nice, and they did them in like different decorations at this little cafe bit. It was so nice. Also, because we went during winter time, all like the different cafes, and there was a little Christmas area as well, which is especially for winter Efteling. As you can imagine, so many specialty hot chocolates, which I imagine in the summertime would be replaced with like specialty cold drinks and slushies and various stuff like that, and ice creams. The last thing I need to mention, and I completely understand this is just the luck of the time of year I went, and that's about wait times. Never in the history of my theme parks, I have been to 23 different theme parks. I have been on 46 theme park trips spanning across 23 different parks, if that makes sense. None of them have I had walk-ons on every single ride. January is the quietest time for Disneyland Paris. Even then, queues are gonna be quieter than normal, but it's never gonna be a walk-on. Efteling, I went beginning of December. I generally, the only ride we queued for was the first ride, and that was because obviously the rides don't open till 11 when the park officially opens, and we went to that ride first because that was like as far into the park as you could get to, and we joined the queue, and so we were only queuing because we were waiting for the park to open. And as soon as the park opened, you got let onto the ride, and then literally you walked through the queuing system and we got straight onto the ride. That happened with all of the rides, and each ride we did, it had the wait time out front, and most of the time it said 5 minutes, which at Disney, when I see a ride says 5 minutes, to me that just means it's going to take you 5 minutes to walk the queuing system. Sometimes, you know, it wasn't even that, you know, the queuing systems aren't that long. Every single ride was a walk-on for me, and the second time I rode Dream Flight, the wait time out front literally said 0 minutes. I don't think I've ever seen that at any theme park. 0 minutes on a wait time. But that one did take me a bit longer to get through the queuing system because halfway through it, I saw a peacock in the queue. And in case you don't know anything about me, I am that person that every time I see an animal, I have to stop and talk to it. So I had to stop and see the peacock. And I had to film the peacock for you guys so you could see the peacock. And then I just had to like appreciate the peacock because it's a peacock. How often do you see a peacock in the middle of a queuing system in a theme park? I had to stop and appreciate the guy. Other than the peacock, everything was a walk-on, which obviously I do appreciate. It's because it's December. It was cold. I appreciate when I am planning to go back in the summertime. I understand it's not going to be like that. And Charlotte did say for rides like Dream Flight and the first ride, which I can't pronounce, those two rides, which are like two of their most popular rides, are gonna be queued. You're gonna be using the queuing system. But yeah, that's just a little bonus of going at that time of year. 0 wait times. It was cool. As I was just saying that, I did just think of a final point I wanted to talk to you about, but it has literally left my mind and I have no idea what I was going to say to you. And this is really annoying me. Give me a second and we'll see if it comes to me. It was something to do, it was talking about the queue times and queuing systems that reminded me, but it's completely gone. So I'm sorry about that. But anyway, that I think has covered all premises of the park. If there was anything I didn't touch upon or anything you would like to know, let me know in the comment section down below. I will try and answer them the best I can. If not, if you have a question that I can't answer, I will bring in my friend Charlotte from @CharlotteThemeParkTales. She changed it, I remembered it, well done me. If there's anything I can't answer, I will ask her, but anything, just leave it in the comment section down below and I'll do my best to help you out and answer anything. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. It was a bit different. A few of you guys were interested in this and I hope it has educated you on Efteling. If you're wondering if it is worth a visit over, I highly recommend it. It's a great family theme park. It has similarities to Disney and it is also very different to Disney. It's fairy tales and very classical and just a great day out. If you enjoyed this video, please do pop the thumbs up button, and if you'd like to see more from Mark, do click subscribe down below. And while you're down there, don't forget to ding the notification bell, you might as well. You do down there. And I'll see you guys real soon. Bye!